I like your headband.
Thanks.
Welcome to the podcast that takes a light-hearted look at money.
We dive into the world of spending and saving, the ups and downs of budgeting, money mishaps, and tips that actually work to help you keep your finances in check.
Whether you want to spend it wisely or widely, we look at how to get the right formula so you're never spending more than you need to, or getting tripped up along the way. I'm Charlotte Redding, product expert, master of multi-buys, and value for money enthusiast.
And I'm Vix Leyton, the other half, consumer champion, prolific spender, and next day delivery devotee. And today, I'm providing the jingly background music for our Christmas episode.
It's perfect. I love it.
On this week's episode, Shrink, Skimp, and Cheapflation, a venerable selection box of the flations. But what do they all mean? Venerable. Sexy. Plus, driving home for Christmas. Top tips to stay safe on the road and why investing in your breakdown cover is definitely worthwhile.
Welcome to Spendology.
Now, I can hear it. I'm not sure if the listeners can hear it, but I'm going to take these off because I can hear it and it's all I can hear. But anyway, it's the Christmas episode. I've made an effort. Happy Christmas!
It's Christmas!
It's not quite Christmas, but I think we're on the way to it.
It's nearly Christmas.
We've stopped work.
It's Primus.
Tools have been downed. We're not Primus. We're not getting that. That's not happening.
I don't know where it came
keep
from.
Making up terms, don't you? Sally Smallplate or like...
And main meal Marcus. For people who listened last week, if you haven't, I'm making up words again. But everybody makes up words. You're a PR person. You make up all of these words. Every word we come across in the news, somebody's made up. And they don't mean anything until somebody says it means something. So I figured I can set the trends and I can say, this means something.
Primus. If you agree, text in, tweet us, let us know. Blue sky us. I don't know what the collective term is. I don't know what the term is to blue sky.
Communicate with us via social media in some way.
We're back on our own.
We are back on our own.
Feels lonely now. No,
I don't know. No. It's nice, isn't it?
If you've not caught up, we had Stephen and Viv from Race Across the World last week. People would be like, why have you got them in? That's a bit weird. Wasn't their series ages ago? Yes, but they are our family. So
Stephen is my dad and Viv is my stepmom. So they're friends of the podcast, Stephen and Viv.
Friends of the show. And yes, if you wondered how Charlotte became how she was, now you know.
It all makes sense.
You've seen the evolution, that Pokemon that came before.
And that is... I have not yet hit my final form. No. Now, speaking of words that everybody has made up.
Yes.
In an effortless segue, because we always point out our segues.
Stunning.
Beautiful.
I kind of miss the jingling, if I'm honest, but...
Skimp, shrink, and cheap. I nearly said shrimp. Shrinkflation.
You get fewer shrimps on a prawn ring from Iceland year after year, and I'm sick of it.
Or fewer shrimps in your bag of shrimps and nanas.
See, that's a genuine horror story, if true.
Big if true.
I know, but yeah, it is nearly time for the ice and prawn ring as well, isn't it?
I saw you ate a whole prawn ring last year.
I know. My mum, it's a tradition that we've got in the family. My mum used to get them. Me and my dad would eat them on Christmas Eve. My dad is not married to my mum anymore. My mum doesn't like prawns, so the responsibility falls to me. Last year, I tried to get you involved, but you wouldn't have it.
No.
So I did joylessly consume a full prawn ring over the course of an afternoon, and I'm still not good for it.
No, the sadness in your eyes as you carried on with it was really quite something.
I don't want to do it again.
But that's not the shrimpflation we're talking about.
Traditions are important.
Now, would you like me to give you a glossary of terms?
I would love to,
A little
please.
glossary of terms.
Teach me, Charlotte.
Oh, gladly. Skimpflation. We'll start with the first one. That is when the quality of products declines and the price stays the same or sometimes increases. Shrinkflation.
Not shrimp.
Not shrimp, shrinkflation is when the size of something or the size of the packet and the volume by weight decreases and the price stays the same or increases. And the phenomenon of cheapflation, that is when the price of budget goods and budget economy brands has a higher rate of inflation than those of luxury brands.
Now, none of those flations are good news for consumers, are they?
Terrible. All of them terrible. And all of them are markedly pronounced around Christmas time because in this country, we love to moan. We do love to moan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we love it. We love to complain. But quite rightly.
If I can't have a good experience, it better be bad enough that I can complain about it. That's all I ask.
Yep.
I don't want a mediocre experience. I want the good. I want the bad. Those bring me joy almost equally, to be honest.
Average experiences are more joyless than terrible ones because there's nothing to laugh at.
For sure.
But when we're talking about shrinkflation in particular, we're talking about the Christmas chocolate tubs.
Oh, yeah. It's the easiest unit of measurement to see shrinkflation in real life. I mean, not even talking about the fact you don't get a tin anymore. The tin used to be part of the price. Like, that is why it was good value. Like, well, you know, the chocolates I could take or leave, but I'm getting a really nice tin out
What's
of it.
your favourite tub?
Back in the day, it was you know, the classic Quality Street. That was a good tub, that was. Or Celebrations.
I've never been a Celebrations fan.
I know, and I hate that.
I'm Roses and Quality Street.
You didn't present that in your slides about your suitability.
I didn't realise that was part of the eligibility criteria.
No, well, here we are. It's too late.
My rubbish taste in chocolate. No, Roses and Quality Street for me. Mystery creams. That's what I'm into. Mystery creams and cheap chocolate in colourful foil wrapping.
It's the foil, isn't it? It's because you're bougie. Deep down, this is middle class coming through. You want an individually, lovingly. You want to believe it was wrapped by hands.
By somebody who earns a lot less than me. That's why they did it, isn't it? It's a real Willy Wonka-esque thing, you know. I want them to be unwrapping that foil so there's a golden ticket inside. They're twizzling the edge of that wrapper. No, of course it's not. I like them. They're colourful. They bring me joy.
What would you leave out of a Quality Street?
Anything coconut. Coconut in all forms can just frankly get in the bin. The reason I didn't like Celebrations, if I'm honest, is that I've only recently, in the later years of my adult life, been okay with eating chocolate with nuts in. And I just feel like...
Very Snickers heavy.
Very Snickers heavy.
Yeah.
And the smell of Snickers. And I'm not... It's so oddly specific. If you open a tub of Celebrations, that smell, Snickers. And it hits you. And if you don't like Snickers, it's overwhelming. So I've come round to the idea of Celebrations.
Because we didn't find the research, but last year, now this is how we like to have a good time and judge us, if you will. We did go on a Twitch stream and count all the different chocolates in each tin, didn't we?
We did.
And we thought it would take longer than it did, to be honest. We didn't have anything else when that was done.
I mean, it did kill an hour.
It did.
But the distribution of chocolates, and I would call that an element. So I think when we look at these tubs of chocolates, they have been subject to both a shrink and a skimpflation. They have been subject to, I'm going to combine the two, into the shrimpflation.
A chocolate economist over here. A Chiconomist? Oh, that was horrible. I never want to say that again. It's disgusting. Try it at home. It's disgusting. A chiconomist. Awful. Disgusting.
It's up there with bounties. So I think that these tubs have shrunk in size massively.
Right, yeah.
We always complain about that.
Well, we know that. I'm sure you've got data.
I've got the numbers.
Of course you have.
I've always got the numbers.
Whisper the numbers into my ear. Go on.
do you know what? It is going to be borderline seductive when I tell you how much the Roses tubs used to weigh in 2009.
Go on.
So now a tub of Roses is about 550 grams.
That's like a big bag of sweets.
It
That's
is.
not a decadent amount of chocolate.
Right? That's pitiful. Back in 2009, according to my data, a nice tin of Roses came in at a whopping 2,100 grams.
Oh.
2.1 kilograms of Roses.
That's so many.
It's so many. And they were about the same price. A £5 is roughly mentally, to me, the average price for a tub of chocolates.
So that's the thing as well, because we are sort of cynical about the size, but everything looks smaller because we're getting older. It's like going back to school and going, were they always so small? We want to be wrong. So
sorry, can we go back to that crone
were
voice?
They always so small? I told you last week, I've got a hair on my face. I am a crone now. I'm in my hag era, okay? So that is the voice I'm going to be using. Get used to it.
It's Hag Girl Winter.
Hag Girl Winter is happening.
Crone Christmas has
Let your hair
arrived.
grow out. Wear loose clothes.
Quality Street have also halved in size. They have not seen the same reduction as Roses, though. Quality Street, now 600 grams, and they were 1,200 grams.
But the deals on them kind of mask it. So, like, Morrison sent me a deal, and it was like, oh, 2 for £8, 2 tins for £8. And it's like, yes, but they're half the size of the tins you used to get, and now it's double the price. You have swindled me here, because I've got 2 items, so I feel like I'm getting a deal, but they're not worth what one item used to be. And, the woman in Morrison's didn't care about what I had to say on that, but
it used to be sort of 2 for £7 or 2 for £5 sometimes. 2 for £5, I think, was the classic deal that we had for a number of years.
Because they are just chocolates.
They're just chocolate.
Let's be real.
And they're okay chocolates. But actually, when we look at the skimpflation that's happened on them, in terms of, now I would call this a change to the quality of the box.
Right.
If you open that tub of chocolates, not all chocolates are created equal. There's different price. Nuts, expensive, for example, in your celebrations. I think the nutty ones, a Snickers is going to...
the Big Purple, they are scarce. They are hard to come by. My dad was Big Purple in our house. And, he was the elder of the house, so he got first pick. And I didn't get a sniff of them until I was about 15.
I like an orange cream.
See, no one likes them. So you've probably got... If I had my way, there'd be a drum full of them. Still after Christmas. Like, there is. We've got one in the office.
I know. It's on my desk and I just snack on it. Last year's chocolate. But I think the distribution of chocolates in it, when you look at with like the toffee pennies, toffees in these things, roses especially, are so guilty of this. I mean, those caramel stick things that...
I like them, see.
You like them, but I don't want them to be 40% of the tub. And I think that's a form of skimpflation. I think they are cutting back on the expensive chocolates that have taken more of the flavourings. And the thing that is just sugar, the caramels, the toffees, there seem to be loads of them in the tubs. But everything's seeing this. So shrinkflation again. So over the years, a Mars bar in the last few years has gone from 58 grams down to 51 grams. On average, Christmas confectionery has dropped its weight by 15 to 20% over the last 3 years.
But not its price.
But
are they accounting for the deep discounting that they'll do and actually just giving you what the discounted price is worth? Because obviously loyalty prices, we talked about them last week, have kind of destroyed the recommended purchase price on these things. Like no discerning shopper is paying the shelf price for these anymore. So have they become a victim, like Bailey's, like other sort of big ticket Christmas items,
staples? Have
they become a victim?
I don't know.
Are their prices getting inflated to be deflated?
I think so. Like the standard price for something now is what I would consider to be the club card or the loyalty price. We studied this last year, actually, the price of a bottle of Bailey's. And the price of a bottle of Bailey's went down to, was it £12?
10 or 12.
£10 or £12, depending on where you went.
There was 1 litre, there were litre bottles in play and also the smaller bottles.
But down from £18 to £20. And the same deal, from about the 1st of November, every 2 weeks, a different supermarket had it at the same price in their shop. And it was like they'd wait for the loyalty price to end in the shop next door. And we watched this offer do the rounds from Tesco's to Morrison's to Sainsbury's to Waitrose, everywhere. Every couple of weeks, someone would have put that same bottle of Bailey's on offer. And I feel like that is just the price now. You can buy it somewhere. I think we're a lot more discerning about where we shop. So I would consider the loyalty price now to be the standard price. But even then, that's still higher than we used to pay.
Yeah. So it was like 18-ish pounds, wasn't it? 'Cause, premium bottle of spirits.
Yeah.
And like spirits have sort of held their value in a more stable way, I think, spirits and wines, than the, say, value products on the shelf, Charlotte.
It sounds like you're talking about cheapflation.
I would never.
I
have. I've done it.
You have.
I've brought it on.
But you're absolutely right. And so the price of budget goods has seen a far higher rate of inflation. When you look at something like the Tesco own brand range, every supermarket's own brand range has inflated at a price that is 2 to 3 times the rate of inflation we've seen on luxury or higher value food prices. So the price of Heinz beans has gone up far less proportionally than the price of Tesco value or an essentials range. And everyone at the bottom is being squeezed for that extra value. And it's reached a point now where the cheap items, you may as well pay a little bit more. and have the named brand, the higher quality thing, rather than buy the value range because there's not much in it anymore.
Yeah, because and you might think, because there is this sort of urban legend that goes around, isn't there, that they're made in the same factory, they've just got a different label on them. Now, that is not true.
For some products, it is.
Yeah.
So there are products that process a particular food item, and oftentimes the value range from a lot of supermarkets might be the same, but you very, very rarely see it between named brands and own brand. It'll be that all of the supermarket's own brand ones are repackaged with different labels in the same factory, but your Tesco beans are not the same as your Heinz beans.
No. The tin tomatoes, you pay a little bit extra, but you get more tomato. Because if you look at the ratios on the side, you end up with look at the quality of ingredients.
Content.
Pasta is another one. Like premium pasta, people say, oh, it's not worth buying it. You can get the cheap value one. No, the way the ingredients are flexed actually changes the flavour. So whilst it might look like, oh, there's not much difference, oh, one of these ingredients is missing, it affects how quickly it cooks, the quality of the al dente when it's partially cooked. It's, if you care about food, if you're a foodie, it's worth paying the extra few pence on some of those items to make sure that they are
absolutely
nice.
And you'll find that we waste so much less food. And it's one of the things that we made that shift, made that adjustment in how we shop, is that we were saying, okay, well, actually, we buy these vegetables, but if we buy the cheaper vegetables, one, they go off faster. And also, we're less inspired to eat them. Sometimes I look in the fridge and I go, oh, all of those vegetables.
There's a little bit of water in the bottom of the bag.
Oh,
delicious.
Right. And I don't feel inspired to eat them. Whereas if you buy really nice, high quality things, like I love going to the grocers if I can and getting vegetables and fruit and veg from there, because the quality and enjoyment from eating it is higher. Yes, you pay a little bit more, but you want to eat these things. And if you're buying things to go to waste because you haven't bought quality products, sometimes, and because of the way that the inflation has changed between them, if there's not much in it, it might be worth paying the little bit extra. But the quality of product and the way that has declined is so ridiculous in terms of how the quality is.
Talk to me about sausages.
I'm going to talk to you about sausages. I mean, why? How did you make that delivery like that? We're going to talk about sausages, not just any sausages. We're going to talk about Tesco's finest sausages.
Oh, all right.
Now, a few years ago, Tesco's finest sausages were 97% pork.
That's loads, that is.
That's porky.
That's real porky.
That's real porky.
Some sausages are too porky, though. Like at breakfast time, I need a bit of rusk in my sausages. I need them to be mild. If you're giving me some kind of Lincolnshire, Cumberland, all-star, all-spice business, I will be crying in the Travelodge.
No, same. I went to I stayed in a hotel a little while back, and the breakfast had really high quality sausages, and I was thinking, I don't want that at all. Do you know what I don't want at 7:45 before a work day? Herbs. I don't want herbs in my food. I just want a bit of meat. I want a couple of hash browns. Also, if a hotel breakfast buffet doesn't have hash browns, I don't want it.
No. The worst is when you get the veggie breakfast. I often do because I don't care about bacon and I'd rather have more mushrooms and more of everything else. Get the veggie breakfast and they give you the Glamorgan sausage. Now, the Glamorgan sausage is a crumbed mash with cheese, like a cheesy mash with peas and sweet corn in it.
That's disgusting.
It's not a breakfast. It's not a breakfast.
That's not a breakfast.
People are trying to make onion bhajis happen on a breakfast at the moment.
Like, give me a Linda sausage. Where's
I'd rather
Linda?
a Linda. We've lost sight of Linda. People are like, it's a sausage shape, but it's got beetroot in it. I'm sick of being catfished by
Linda.
sausages. Yeah.
Bring back Linda. Right, but Tesco finest sausages.
So the kind of sausages that we wouldn't see on a breakfast, but you'd want to put in a pasta bake.
In a good old sauce cass.
Yeah.
A sausage casserole.
A sauce
For the people who don't abbreviate their notations for the freezer portions of food.
The people who don't live in our house. Sauce cass equals sausage casserole.
A classic sauce cass. They are now, those sausages, only 90% pork. So 7% pork has gone from those sausages.
What's in its place?
Breadcrumbs, water, other filler items.
But the price is cheaper, yes? No.
Exactly the same. But there's weird places where people make these changes, and if you can pad it out with something else, people are. Morrison's guacamole, you might think, with your guacamole, what can you really change in that? Well, I can tell you, it has lost 3% of its avocado content in Morrison's The Morrison's guacamole used to be 80% avocado and it is now 77% avocado.
I'll ask again, what is it instead?
And cheap tomato. Other things that have gone into it.
But that affects the consistency.
It affects the consistency, the water content, all of it. But where I have found this to be absolutely bonkers, okay, is that it's not just food. When we look at skimpflation, everyone just thinks this affects food, but it affects all manner of products. And when you think about the kind of product offerings, they are not just stuff that we're buying in the supermarket.
Okay.
So we've seen this a lot, and we have seen this a lot in hotels. When we stay in hotels, and we complain about this, because we love to complain, not to people, to one another.
Oh, yeah, we don't do anything to improve the situation for others.
Oh,
no.
absolutely not. But we'll leave a scathing TripAdvisor review. But hotels have reduced their frequency of housekeeping services.
Ah, yes, but they like to pretend it's for the environment, Charlotte, because I will sit there, I'm just reflecting on life in the office that is my bathroom, just sitting there. You're on the toilet, mind your own business. Your eye gets caught. There's a little note. It's for you. And it's telling you basically if you like clean towels, well, then you hate turtles.
I mean, it may as well be that way. But it's a form of skimpflation feigned like under the guise of environmental health. And a lot of places are doing it. You look at the brands that have reduced their pork content in things. They come out and say, oh, it's to improve the flavour. I can't remember the brand, but there was a yoghurt pot that had dropped by 10% of its volume, and the manufacturer said it had a concentrated flavour. And
well, like squash, you meant to dilute it with more yoghurt if that's your vibe. Like what?
Yeah, it's all of these things. They've cut back on all of these services and pretended that it's for another reason. It's the towels in the hotel,
the minis.
You
now get one shower gel that is also shampoo, and you wash your hands with it, and that's supposed to be fine. Give me my miniatures back.
Right,
but the price has not gone down. The kettle is gone. Where's the kettle? I did not anticipate a world where I would have to double check when I'm booking something from hotels.com that it's got a kettle.
It's the bare minimum.
It's a mistake you only make once.
I've got to have a cup of tea in the room.
I know. Just a pre-coffee before the breakfast coffee. Even if there is coffee available, I want my bed coffee.
The hotel bed coffee. The hotel bed coffee is a real thing. Those sachets of Nescafe, those little tiny things of milk that you do have to give a smell sometimes. It's a weird UHT in a tiny pot, but I want that. It's part of the experience.
It tastes just like milk.
It's UHT. It's not.
What? No, that's the brand name. It tastes just like milk.
Is that what it's called?
What a day in the office for those marketing people. I've got an idea. It's for milk. It's not really milk, but it tastes just like milk. They're like, yeah, we've got it. Right, everyone, lunch. Let's go.
Oh, marketing people.
It never fails to make me smile.
But it's not just, so it's the hotel services, the frequency of these things. Loo roll. You know I love talking about loo roll.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, I can't not. It made me, I feel a warm glow having mentioned it. But the quality of loo roll that you get in hotels, in shared office spaces, all these things, the quality of loo roll and paper towels has gone down because people are switching to cheaper alternatives. The price of everything stays the same, but the quality is going down.
Unless they're virtue signalers, in which case you'll get the bamboo who gives a crap bamboo toilet rolls, and they're very pleased with themselves.
So pleased with themselves.
So smug. You didn't realise a toilet roll could be smug, but it's happened. We've arrived.
So unbelievably smug.
So what can we do about this? Is there anything we can do?
I'd love to say yes, but the answer is no. This is a phenomenon that we cannot avoid. I think if there were any tip that I would say, it's consider the luxury brands. If you haven't touched on those before, if you wouldn't necessarily go and look at them, see what price they're at. Go to a different supermarket. If you're noticing that you typically buy the regular standard brand of items, have a look at the luxury ones and there will not be much in it. You might be able to make a small switch for more joy than the brands that you're used to.
Make the savings where there's very little difference and then spend that money on, if you've got the luxury of doing that. But also, will food aisle, I love to talk about it.
Oh, always.
I love to talk about the World Food Aisle. There are a lot of off-brands. It's like a tiny Aldi little situation where there are a lot of brands you might not recognise, but the quality is always great. For things like spices, you can buy them in bulk. For things like tomatoes, for your food cupboard staples, lovely value.
Chickpeas. Always buy chickpeas from the World Food Aisle. They're delicious and a much better price.
And some frozen stuff is obscenely cheap. You can get 10 things for £10 in Iceland at the moment, and that includes things like packets of fish fingers, like really nice, quick. I call them children's teas because sometimes I just want to be comforted. So I want potato waffles, I want beans, I want a chicken drummer or a turkey drummer, and loads. Just we found them really, really useful, haven't we? In putting just throwing together a lunch if you want something hot, but you haven't got the mental capacity.
I suppose my big top tip for this, as it is part of the Christmas shopping season, I would stop committing yourself to one big Christmas shop. Be deals led, buy a few bits here and there, and buy where the deals are. It is the same stuff. You're pulling a face at me, but if you want chocolate tubs, get them at the best price. They will last.
I understand about the Christmas cupboard, but we cannot cancel the big shop. Excuse me. That is part of the experience. That's like saying don't have an advent calendar.
It's not the same.
It is. But the big shop, it is traditional. You go to the big shop, you buy things that you don't even want, that nobody in your family will want, that a guest won't even want because it's Christmas. And I think that's beautiful.
I tell you what, there's an element of rampant consumerism to it, but also there are things that I want to buy every year for the nostalgia, despite the fact that I find so morally and ethically it just opposed to everything about what I enjoy eating. It's marzipan fruit.
That's so bougie.
The box of marzipan fruit. And I just, it's such a childhood core memory of seeing this box of things and being like, it looks like a tiny orange, and I think it's horrible. I would never eat just a lump of marzipan just that's painted to look like a tiny orange because I don't really like it. But I want to look at them, and I want to buy them so I can go, look at this thing. It looks like a tiny orange. Isn't it festive? That's the kind of thing I buy if you let me do a big Christmas shop. It's stuff that I don't even like.
No, but that's not the point. Christmas is all about having stuff you don't want. That is the meaning, the true meaning of Christmas.
The true meaning of Christmas is all the things you don't want. That includes food and family visits.
Off-brand socks in a size that's not mine. You shouldn't have. No, really, you shouldn't have.
Please don't. Take it back.
I'm excited about Christmas.
Speaking of family visits at Christmas.
Driving home for Christmas.
That was absolutely stunning. And what an effortless segue.
I sing for you. No, don't get me. I won't
stop.
Stop. You know, I can't stop.
We're talking about winter driving and driving home for Christmas. And
so we covered trains, didn't we? So ideally, you get a train because that's easy. You get aboard, you've got your snacks, you've got your drinks, you've done your seat frog, so you're going home first class in style. This is for you, Stephen. This is a little recap for Stephen Redding, who was on last week and asked questions about things that have been in previous episodes. So I'm just basically, it's like a little mid-season break.
You're too kind to them.
But yes, so trains, if you've got a train, great. That is, for me, God's tier transport home for Christmas.
What about if you live rurally?
All right, tell me the other options then.
The other option is driving. But in particular, what we're going to talk about is we had a tragic incident.
Yeah.
A tragic incident where the car broke down and it was wintertime. And we were then, I'm just painting the picture for you. We spent 3 hours at the side of a motorway wrapped in silver blankets. That was where we were at. We looked silly, and then we arrived after finally...
We could see the services as well.
We could see the
that's
services.
The worst thing. We could see it. It wasn't safe for us to get there, but we could see them in the distance. And that was just like a sort of repeated poke in the eye as we waited on the side of the road and prayed not to die.
Yes, waiting for the AA to come and tow us. And we only had that because we realised at the point of us breaking down, we didn't have specific breakdown cover, but thankfully it was a perk from one of our bank accounts. But we then arrived at the service station and there was a big sign that said, it's all about the journey.
Yes, the journey. But the thing is, why didn't you get breakdown cover, Charlotte?
I was trying to save money. I thought this car's not going to break down. I've not had it long. I get it serviced. It's in good health. It's got low mileage. And I thought, I don't need to pay for that. I suppose it's the nature of insurance, is that you're insuring against something bad to happen. And unless you believe something bad is going to happen, you won't justify the spend to yourself.
And you can't live like that. It's a grudge purchase. You've got to believe it's not going to happen to you. Now,
we broke down.
In every way that you can break down.
Absolutely. Because it was late at night and it was very, very cold.
You turned the radio off and you were there and you had this really concentrated look on your face. And you said to me, I was like, what's happening? And you were like, we're breaking down. And I didn't know if you meant like mentally, like I didn't understand what was happening at all. I was like, are you trying to have like a hard conversation with me?
A difficult but serious conversation. So I heard all these things happen. Vix on her phone, listening to the radio, absolute passenger princess next to me in the car. You know, she's got the snacks open. She's having a nice time. I hyper focused to the sounds that the car has begun to make, and all I can hear is the car sound.
Whistling, singing to us.
The whistling was one of the last warning signs that happened. Is that the car began to make strange noises, and then I thought, that's the car. And I switched the radio off so I could hear better. But I switched the radio off so I could better hear our breakdown. And then the engine cut out and it seized. It made a horrible whistle. It juddered. It stopped. And we began to come to a stop. And I turned to Vix and I said, we're breaking down, because I couldn't really, we had not yet broken down. We were not in a breakdown situation. And I thought, I don't know, is breakdown a noun? Is it really a verb? So I ummed and ahed as to how to respond. And we were in the process of breaking down to a standstill in the hard shoulder. So I said, we're breaking down.
But good news, I managed to rustle up a policy that
you did.
I was paying for a packaged bank account, right? And I almost cancelled it because I realised £10 was going out my account. There's travel insurance, there's mobile phone insurance, there's breakdown cover on this bank account. But I've got a couple of those other things with other bolts-ons. So I was like, I'm just paying money for nothing. No, I wasn't. We needed that, but it took hours to come. And as a demonstration on how much we needed that, there were another couple that had broken down, apparently, because the highway patrols man said they paid £700 for a tow, hadn't they?
We ended up having to, and this is the kind of the way the costs stack up, you do not think about. And I've got the numbers for you now to say really just how important and easy this is. What you don't think about in these things is it never happens at a good time. So you're always on your way somewhere, probably miles and miles from home. You have somewhere to be and you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it doesn't happen outside your house,
no,
not usually.
Not the way life works. So we ended up paying a good few £100s for the car to be towed to back home somewhere, or somewhere it would be useful.
The long story short, it couldn't be fixed, could it?
It couldn't be fixed roadside.
The AA man finally came out hours and hours later, laughed at us and was quite obnoxious and tried to take the car off our hands for scrap. Well, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. We didn't know how we were going to get home. We were supposed to be somewhere.
Yeah.
And this man basically tried to rip us off with an AA.
Yeah.
With an AA badge on, because he was a contractor that lived locally. So another little tip, do not make decisions late at night because a man has laughed at you. And we were quite lucky because we're quite strident women. But if I'd been on my own, I probably just would have let him take it away.
Yeah.
Because it was just a really horrible night. We were facing the fact that our car, well, as far as he was concerned, was written off. And because of the policy that we had, because it was a sort of bare minimum policy. Now, again, good thing about breakdown, I don't drive. Your car was covered because I was in it.
Yeah.
So again, if you are at the side of the road, the driver doesn't have breakdown. If you've got someone in the car that does, that policy will likely cover you, which I don't think enough people know.
No. Like you might have cover attached to something, attached to an account. Check with the other passengers if you don't, because you might then be able to save yourself a lot of money. I mean, we'd have been in an even worse situation if we didn't have that, but still we had to pay for overnight accommodation for ourselves, you know, with where we were. We had to arrange then for the car to get moved and for our own transport back to where we either needed to be onward or back home.
Cannot recommend, whatever the opposite of recommend is, enough days in at a service station. Oh, that was one of the bleakest times of my life.
The days in at a service station, when on the side of a motorway, when you turn up and they ask for the car registration and you say, we've walked.
A walk-in.
I don't think they get many of those at 1 o'clock in the morning. It was a real low point for us.
Oh, we've only got a double room. That's fine.
But to put it in perspective of what the breakdown cover is, so I got a really good deal.
Can you imagine though? They were like, "Oh, we've only got a double room." It's like, "Oh, we'll go elsewhere then." You're at services. It's the only facility.
There was nothing else for miles around. We've just made it clear that we've arrived here
On foot.
It was bleak. But the AA breakdown cover I've got now, I am paying the grand old sum because I got a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Monthly. I didn't pay it all up front because I like to split monthly costs. Why not? I pay £11.73 per month.
Wow.
And that is including a discount of, I think, £7.82 off each month. And within this, I'm going to give you a breakdown of what I've paid, but ultimately it's coming out at about £140 a year, which is essentially, we've paid 4 times that in one incident.
And that gets us home as well?
Yes. So included in our cover, what I've bought is the classic roadside assistance, obviously, where someone to, get you to a safe location and do all of those things. We also pay the premium to have national recovery.
Right.
Which is that they will, take you and the vehicle to anywhere that you want to go.
So they won't just leave you there if it can't be fixed. They'll take you to a local garage or a garage at the next place. If you're on your way on holiday, for example, or we're heading down to, I was doing a comedy gig, but we were going to try and make a mini break out of it. So it would have been nice that night if we could have.
Yeah.
If we knew the car was fixable, they would have taken us and the car. The car could have been fixed over the weekend. We wouldn't have lost the money on the cottage. I would have got to see the alpacas.
Exactly. They could have taken us both there. Us and vehicle. And the other thing I've paid for is for onward travel. So you can pay a small premium if you want to be able to, let's say in that situation, we sent the car back home 200-300 miles away. And we then, if you were going on holiday or something, you still need to get to the airport. You might still need an overnight stay and to get to your flight at 4 o'clock in the morning. And they can pay towards your onward travel and help you with onward travel to your destination. They might put you in a taxi or drive you there.
For £11 a month.
£11.73 per month.
Yeah, you need to get on that.
It's a real, when you actually look at what one incident is worth it. Having had one incident now, it's not a cost I would ever cut back on again.
Yeah, because I think that easily costs £400.
And that's before the repairs to the car and all of those things, and it's, even if a standalone, you could afford £500-600 for these things. Could you afford £500-600 for your travel, for moving the car, for the tow, plus the cost of the repairs all at once? And that's what it comes down to, is that you would have to do all of these things at once. And you might be able to afford part of it, but you'd never just need that part of it.
Yeah, to leave the service station, we needed an immediate outlay.
Yeah. And what the AA, I got an email from them the other day to say they now have accident assist. So if you get into a crash, if you have an accident in your car, as part of the service included in my kind of having them, the cover with them, they will do the complete coverage of everything I need. So I can ring them first. And they will call my insurance, call everyone, do everything I need to. If I just go, I don't know what to do, I'm in this situation, I can just ring the AA and they will handle everything.
And they have to now because the service has got better because unfortunately in a cost of living crisis, people are looking at things they think they can do without and they're gambling. So loads and loads of people are cancelling their breakdown cover. And it's a lesson we've learned. But as with everything, the AA is not the only one available. You've shopped around, you found that discount, but there's AA, RAC, Green Flag. There are so many choices out there, but this is not one where just pay the bare minimum and hope for the best because it's something that will cost you immediately if things go wrong. It's the same with like pet insurance. Like you cannot process the speedy escalation of cost.
I think it's knowing that someone else has sorted it, is that the logistics of arranging all of these things, calling separate people to get the tow, arranging all of these things ourselves. If you pay a single service that has all of these things as add-ons, you're saving yourself a whole lot of stress at a time that's going to be incredibly stressful. If we knew we could ring one person...
I do, it's my dad.
Yeah. But if we could
he
ring...
makes the calls. Our dads were squabbling over who got to make the calls. It was a really good day for dads. We needed help. We needed rescue.
Yeah.
It was to do with cars.
What a dream day for them.
Oh, great day for dads.
But they couldn't sort everything, all one of them themselves. So A single service, you can call them and they will sort the whole lot, including getting you home.
And the credibility as well, because your dad managed to find us somebody who could tow the car and take it back to where your dad lives, where there was space for a broken down car. But at the time, we were price-led. When Peter came and loaded that up, I didn't know if he'd ever see Percy again. And at the time, I've got to say, I didn't care. I'd had a terrible night's sleep.
Yeah, same.
But I did not. We were just trusting a man. Like, he didn't have any... There was no way of...
No, there was no way of tracking him. We had his mobile number, but if Peter had driven away with Percy's the car, Peter was the man who came to get him.
Yeah.
It sounded like a real
Like Thomas the Tank Engine kind of level. But yeah, if he'd just driven away, we'd never seen the car again. Like,
no.
We took that risk. Like, no insurance would have covered it. Oh, yeah. Because, he stole the car, did he? Yeah, we helped him up the ramp with it.
We helped him up the ramp. I was in the car steering it, and then I handed him the keys, and he left with it.
Yeah.
We'd look like the world's dumbest people. But
3 of us helped load it on, and we just waved it goodbye.
Goodbye.
So yeah, get breakdown cover. Like, I cannot recommend it enough as a product that you hope you never have to use. But also have the conversation now. As I said, there might be, you're sharing a car with somebody who's got breakdown cover, so your journey home is covered, and then you can deal with that in the new year. But if you're planning to go anywhere further away from your house than you could get back to via public transport in the middle of the night, pay your money. Pay your 11 quid. Your £11.70, sorry.
And do you know what it's time for now?
What is it time for?
It's now versus then.
Now we have breakdown cover, then we didn't. Now versus then. Like, yeah. We're not there yet.
You've done a spin on it today.
I'm going to keep working on it.
I'm going to be honest, I don't love it.
Now versus then versus now. How about that? No?
Better.
Let's crack on, shall we?
I mean, crack on is what you would do with this.
Okay.
So I've got for you a humble British staple of Christmas time. Now we're going to do something a little bit different today.
Okay.
It's a now versus then, but we're going to be weight-led on the topic of shrinkflation.
Okay.
So what?
I mean, these are complicated rules, and I have to have card games explained to me as though they're new every time I play. Like, my brain, it don't play this way. So this is cruel and unusual.
Cruel and unusual.
It's not very Christmassy. But yeah, carry on.
It's not in the Christmas spirit, but
that's not very Christmassy.
For you, I've got the humble Terry's chocolate orange.
Right, okay. I thought it was going to be Christmas crackers based on...
Crack on.
Yeah.
No, because you have to smash them open, the chocolate orange, which, by the way, in my research in this, I found that the Terry's chocolate orange was released in 1932.
Wow.
6 years previously, they did go for broke on the chocolate apple, which, as you can imagine...
Terry's chocolate apple?
Yeah. It didn't take off, and it looked a lot like the chocolate orange, and I'm glad they settled on... on the one they did.
Well, this is great trivia.
Yeah, thank you. So there was a chocolate apple. That didn't work out. 6 years later, they go, no, I've got it. We figured out the marriage of chocolate and fruit.
Was it an apple flavour?
Yeah.
Oh, woof.
I know. Didn't take off.
No fair.
So the current weight of a Terry's chocolate orange is 157 grams.
Right, okay.
About 157 grams. I want you to tell me what it used to weigh. How much bigger did it used to be?
So it is bigger then. It's definitely bigger.
It used to be bigger.
Yeah, because I'm not sure, because obviously back in the sort of 1930s, 1940s, chocolate was a precious commodity and a treat. You know, you think of wartime where my dad used to sort of spread sugar on bread. Now, and they call that a dessert.
It's worth noting before somebody else tries to fact check me, I couldn't find the value of what it weighed back in 1930s. The only values I could find were a single now versus then. So while it was commercially available and big in the world and everyone loved the Terry's chocolate orange that we knew and loved for our entire lives, what did it weigh all of that time and what does it weigh now? Yeah,
because I just assumed that everything was smaller back then because the people were tiny.
The little bird people.
The little bird people.
With their rations.
With their ration cards. Right, so it was what?
157 now.
I'm going to go 250 grams. I'm going for broke. It's a family sharer. It's a table centerpiece. They've got their jelly. They've got their weird pâtés shaped like a fish. They've got this big
And a
ball.
and some marzipan fruit.
Yeah, 250 grams.
It was 175 grams. It's
You've led me down the garden path with this.
I built it up so big with the chocolate apple and the I just wanted to see the look on your face.
No change, really.
It's a substantial change. 175 down to 157 grams. It's like 20 grams of chocolate. That's a portion. That's a whole segment.
Oh, right.
That's gone.
So they've taken a whole segment off.
A whole segment of chocolate.
I know, but you made me think that.
Well, what did you think it was like?
A football.
Like a cornucopia centerpiece style Thanksgiving abundance.
That is what you led me to believe, yeah. And that's all on you. It was based on vibes alone. I thought.
You were picturing it as big as your head.
Yeah. So when did it get small then? What's the degradation?
In the last couple of years, they took the weight down.
So it's been 178 up until last
175 grams for a decade, and then in the last few years, it's come down to 157.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's disappointing. I thought normally we start with something finish with something a bit uplifting, but not today.
I will say though, on the price of them, it's something that is always on a loyalty price. So be price led for your chocolate orange at Christmas because you can still get them for £1. Do not pay full price for Terry's chocolate orange. Some places are now as high as £3.95. Some places are trying to claim their worth.
Toblerones have gone up massively as well. They used to be like a little stocking filler for my dad, and now they are a gift.
A classic Toblerone.
Yeah, Toblerone.
So I think we've just about covered Christmas.
Yeah, shop around, get breakdown cover if you're planning to take the car, get the train if you can, but then, set off now if you're getting the train. You've got 2 weeks to make it on Christmas Eve. You just get the train now.
Maybe East Midlands Rail might get you there eventually. We'll see what happens.
Oh, they've got East Midlands on the subject of East Midlands Rail. They've got Christmas sandwiches in first class at the moment. We see frogs because we were really tired the other day. Oh, don't eat the chicken and stuffing. This is a public service announcement. I interrupt the end of the programme. I don't know what they put in that sawdust, but it was absolutely disgraceful.
It's gritty. I didn't like it.
Don't bother with it.
I didn't like it, not one bit.
Don't be upsold the mince pie bar either because it's gluten-free. Again, it's dusty. They probably put the same thing in there that they put in the sandwiches. They're dusty. Just eat more crisps.
That was the podcast. That was Spendology.
Yeah.
We're going off for our little Christmas break.
We are. We're going off for a little Christmas break.
And Vix is going to be jingling.
Oh, the Christmas is here for the
next 2 weeks. Oh, I'm glad Santa's here because I've got my jumper on. He'll know I'm serious.
He'll know you're serious. Enjoy the festive season, everybody. Thank you for listening. And we'll be in touch with new listeners for your ears very soon. If you like this, what should you do, Charlotte?
Rate and review it if it's 5 stars. Treat us like your Uber driver. It's 5 stars or it's no. Just don't bother. But leave us a lovely review. Send us a message on social media at SpendologyPod. Tell us how much you loved it or don't bother.
Those are the options. 5 stars, don't bother. It's Christmas, don't be mean. No, we feel confident in the product that we're making. And thanks for the lovely Distorted for having us again in the studio.
Absolutely.
And doing all this lovely work to make us sound great. Yep, let us know what you think. Let us know what you'd like to hear in the podcast going forward or any little guests that you'd like to nominate. If you know them, tell them to get in touch. This has been Festive Spendology.